I grew up in the Bronx, on 182nd and Grand Concourse to be exact. It's still the same place I go back to today when I visit my dad. Try to get up there at least once a month. And it was a predominantly Dominican community, so I had a chance to really embrace that culture here in New York, up in New York. From everything from going to the local bodega, to run errands on the weekends to buy the plátanos, you know, for the mango and the breakfast during the weekend, to watching the annual Dominican parade on Grand Concourse, sitting on my fire escape as a kid. And it was a great place to grow up in. Every time I walk into the White House, I not only feel the responsibility to make sure that I'm doing the best that I can in my job, but in many ways I feel the weight of my community and my family walking with me. My main role is to work with mayors and local elected officials across the country. However, that said, if you're a Latino in the White House, you know, you end up forming part of a group of folks from different offices that ultimately, you know, support on issues that impact the Latino community, whether it's on the issue of immigration reform, for example, or whether it's the issue of the My Brother's Keeper initiative, which is meant to influence and impact boys and young men of color. I mean, it's something that when you come to the table and when you're working on policies, when you're working on engagement, you can't help but draw on where you're from and who you are and who you become. I had a chance to brief the president in the Oval Office, and as I prepared to go into the Oval Office, I was making sure that I knew the memo from back to front. And when I walked in and my then boss introduced me, he said, you know, this is Mr. President, this is Elias Alcantara. He's been working on this phone call and on the My Brother's Keeper initiative effort. And I remember distinctly, the president was at his desk and he looked over and his first question was, have we officially met before? And I said, no, Mr. President, I don't think we have. And he actually asked me to come over to his desk and he put out his hand and shook my hand. And he said, it's a pleasure to meet you. Tell me something about yourself. And I couldn't help but say, the first thing that came to mind was, Mr. President, I'm actually from the Bronx, New York. And the president kind of chuckled and said, the Bronx, that's a fine place to be from, the Bronx. And it was in that moment that I realized that all the sacrifices my parents made coming to this country and all the work that I had done up until this point was actually worth it, because here I was, a first-generation American kid from the Bronx, having the chance to brief the President of the United States on an effort that's obviously incredibly important for him and for this administration. I've had a chance to bring in, at this point over the years, probably a few hundred young youth. I've been able to bring in a few hundred youth from the Bronx and Washington Heights area. You know, a diverse set of students, but predominantly Latinos, I would say. And I've had a chance to bring them in and bring them into the White House, showing them, you know, the same hallways that I get to walk in every day.
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.